How to cook steak on the stove. Knowing how to cook steak on the stove comes in very handy because there are times when you can't use a grill. Using a wood or charcoal grill for cooking steak improves the flavor because of the smoke. However, it is still possible to make a pretty decent tasting steak using your frying pan. When cooking steak on your stove, you will get the best results if it is a quality piece of meat, like a tenderloin steak. Tenderloin, which is also known as filet mignon, is one of the best cuts for stovetop cooking. It is lean, tender, and juicy. You will bring out the best flavor of the tenderloin steak if you don't cook it beyond medium rare. Here are the steps. 1. To start cooking your steak, take it out of the refrigerator for at least 20 minutes before so that it can warm up to room temperature. 2. Take some paper towels and pat the tenderloin dry to absorb any extra moisture. If you're using a dry rub, massage it into the meat. However, because tenderloin is a piece of quality meat, even salt and pepper should be enough. 3. After rubbing on salt and pepper, or the dry rub a bit of oil on both sides of the steak. 4. Heat a skillet over the stove. A heavy one will be able to retain and distribute heat properly. You will know that it's hot enough when a few drops of water sizzle and dance before evaporating. 5. Drop a tablespoon of oil into the hot skillet and move it around so that the cooking surface is lightly coated. 6. When the oil starts to smoke, place the tenderloin steak in the middle of the pan. Sear the steak for 2 to 3 minutes to seal in the juices and the flavor. 7. Using a tong, not a fork or knife, flip the steak and sear the other side. You don't want to poke any holes in the meat because doing so will cause the juices to run out, making the meat less juicy. Don't skip the searing. Searing creates delicious crust outside of the steak. 8. Lower the heat to medium and continue cooking the steak for 10 more minutes, flipping every now and then. Remember that you don't want to pierce the steak. 9. Take the steak out of the skillet when you think that it will be done in about 2 more minutes. This is because the steak will continue to cook after you take it out of the skillet, so timing it this way will ensure that it is done just enough. 10. Place the steak on a plate and cover loosely with aluminum foil. Let it rest for about 15 minutes to allow the juices to be reabsorbed into the meat and to develop the flavor. 11. Take the skillet that you used to cook the steak and deglaze it by putting in a tablespoon of butter and 2 tablespoons of water. Place it over a medium heat and use a spatula to remove any charred juices so that they mix with the water and butter. Let it simmer for a few more minutes to reduce it a little. This reduced liquid will then be drizzled over the tenderloins to make the outsides a bit moister. You can also learn how to cook steak on a stove using lesser quality meats such as chuck steak or other cuts. However, because meats that are graded below select are tougher and drier, they tend to be more suited for wet cooking methods such as stewing.